Hello, and welcome to another Universes Academy Nats deck profile. This time we have one of the other big bads of the format, of the meta, Mr. Mirio, and, better known as Lemillion to some. And this is built off the good symbol, kind of the default symbol that most people have been building off of and finding success. This list in particular is the one that I actually ran at a provisional store championship and got first place with just in the past month or so. So it's solid, and maybe has a few more adjustments to be made to it, some tuning, some preference and things like that. But the thing that this deck does, the way that I have him built, that others don't, is we get lots of momentum. I think that having momentum in him is really key because your character here changes zones and adds damage. That's great and all. But he also just says, enhance, commit, discard momentum. This attack does 0 damage. Well, most of the time, depending on when you use it. But I think that's really key. It also makes people's math really hard. You can kind of force your rival to overextend on a turn trying to kill you and then just come up short. And that's where my mind went when I saw this character, was defense first, because I feel like eventually you just get there on offense because eventually they just run out of blocks for whatever zone it is you're switching to. But let's go through the foundations and then we'll go through the attacks. So it can't be fixed and keeping area safe. Great spam, great stun or committal hate. That's everywhere in this format. Most other Mirio lists run a ton of it as well. So this really helps your matchup there. Celebrity status, flip to add one of your momentum to the top of your deck. Like I said, we get lots of momentum. So you can do cool things with on-command draw to flip this, put an attack that you just maybe add to your momentum, like a Phantom Thread or something, back on top of your deck to then pick it up and play it again. Self-sacrifices here, helps keep us out of deadlock, also adds and reduces some damage, which is just another trigger for Phantom Thread and things like that as well. So always useful. Destined for mainstream success, flip. You either scout out what the top card is and know your next check, or you just drew a free attack. Either way, it's a win. Gift from Mom. Put this in originally just for Chris, that spicy 1X. He loves this card. It's always been in his good decks back in the day. But no, in all seriousness, I played a lot of games where I found myself having some extra momentum, and I needed another way to dump that momentum offensively. And this effectively is PAL 3. It's only one instance of it, and it's 1 momentum for 3 damage on your punch attack, which all of our attacks are punches, spoiler. But, it's good. Probably if you were going to start cutting and changing things, probably where I would start, but it's good. Passing the torch at 3x, draws more cards. Carpool to work. This one's really cool in this deck. Both effects are very useful, and they kind of play really nice with what we want to do. So it's a 2/5 with +2 low block, and it says response remove. After this card is discarded from your momentum, add the top card of your deck to your momentum. So if you have this in your momentum and you pitch it for your character ability, you get another free momentum that you can then use on something else. It also has response discard momentum. After you block with this card, add it to your momentum. So maybe you start the turn with 1 momentum, threatening your character on defense. Then they play a low, you block with one of these, you pull it down. Well, now you're threatening 2 more momentum and you clear it on progressive. That's just solid. It also is good for any of the make your rival discard a momentum kind of things. Like, oh, hey, you made me discard one. Oh, it was carpool to work. I guess I get that momentum back. It's just got lots of cool opportunities to really shine and kind of make the math more difficult for your rival. Lemillion of the big 3. Ran this at 2x. Again, probably would go up on this. But, this card just kind of makes all your attacks get +1/+1 because they start as one zone. And then you change them to the other and you add the other stat if you want, or you just stack, either +2 damage on an attack if you want to switch just between highs and lows. If you're running a more mid lineup, it starts with a speed, then you change it to something else, it gets a damage. It's just good. This card's a spiritual reprint of an old card. It was good then, it's good now, it's always going to be good. So you definitely want to have at least 2 of these in there, maybe 3. Some people run 4. It just depends on how essential you think it is to your game plan. Broken Psyche. Some made reference to, I think this character is really good defensively, and this card's insane defensively. Enhance, flip, discard momentum, changes text damage to 2. So if you get a couple of these on the board and your character, and we were referencing to carpool to work earlier, so maybe first you're going to flip, pitch a carpool to work from your momentum, for cost on Broken Psyche, reduce this attack down to 2. Then you're going to destroy the Broken Psyche to reduce it down to 1 with a self-sacrifice. So you take 1 off this attack, and you have another momentum to then threaten your character to put 1 to 0. Like, that's 2 attacks that you just negated with not even spending a card from your hand. This card's incredibly good. It also can, after you do take damage from an unblocked attack, you can add 1 card with a check value of 6 from your discard pile to your hand, play while committed. I don't actually have any 6s in this deck, so that ability never happens, but that's also not a bad ability. Like, you could add in a couple of cards to really take advantage of that. You have Bonds of Friendship is a 6 check with a +1 high block. That's a good interaction. And then Pulls and Punches, great deadlock threat. Also in here, because it allows us, again, to get some snap momentum. You can do this on defense. You can block with an attack, and then if they attack you again, you can destroy this to pull that block down to get a momentum to then be able to threaten your character. Or on offense, you can just clear your card pool to get a momentum to do more cool things with. So this card's great. It's always been great. It's going to always be great. Let's jump into the attacks, because my attack lineup's a little different than most. So let's start with Velocity Punch. This card, 4 low 4. I've liked this card since set 1. It doesn't get auto included in any list, but in the decks that it's good, it's very good. And what it does is enhance to add 1 of your foundations from your stage to your momentum. Oh, hey, here I was just thinking, if only there are ways for me to do something with my foundations and my momentum. Oh, wait, here's another way for me to get this card pool to work that I had to build into my momentum. So this card's really cool. Just comes across for 6 damage, and Snap gets you a momentum, whether they block it or not, which if you're getting momentum regardless, a lot of times it puts your rival in kind of a lose-lose, right? They're like, well, do I block this and he's still got the momentum, or do I just eat this 6 damage and give him 2 momentum, Let them figure that out. It's not for me to figure out. Valiant Assault. This card's great. Just draws you 2 cards. And anyone but Mirio, this is the most mid attack to ever come to Midtown. But in Mirio, it's an off zone attack that draws you 2 cards, does 6 damage, and might let you look at the top card of your deck. So, pretty great. Plummeting Punch. This card's bananas. Its deadlock is bananas. You need to run 4 of this card, and I don't know why other lists aren't running it. It can literally be all 3 zones. So when you Lemillion of the big 3, it gets +2, +1 for free, and then it also gets itself another +2. If they go into deadlock, you immediately make them regret it by flipping a foundation, committing a foundation, and then destroying a foundation, all of your choice. Like, I've used this to punch through deadlock walls that looked impossible before. It's great. +1 low block, like, you can't beat it. It's just super good. Hardened Pummel. So again, got some spicy tech for you here. With Eraserhead running around in the meta as much as he is, and how he loves to block with those erases, this says you can't play actions during this attack, and that includes the block step. So again, this is normally just a 5 mid 5, but in Mirio, this is an off zone 5 speed doing 7. And then if you do happen to have a momentum from any of the number of things that get you a momentum, you also get to add 5 more damage to it. So this is a off zone 5 speed attack doing 12 damage that they can't block with actions. So you can change this to a high, and they can't showdown you. You can leave it a mid, they can't erase you. Like, there's a lot of cool things that this does. It's not always great, so we got it at the 2x, but when it's good, it's very good. Rejuvenating Smash. This card does it all. Even in this deck, this card does it all. The only thing you don't get to do in this build of it is get the free momentum. Excuse me. Which is unfortunate, but you still get to draw 2, gain 2. Like, it's just awesome. It plays really well with our final attack, which is Phantom Threat. We run both of those at a 3x, and nothing feels better than going Phantom Threat to lead, use its ability so it auto clears and goes to momentum, and then playing a Rejuve on a 5 to gain 2, draw 2. And you're like, cool, did you just take, here's 7 or 8 potentially. Did you take another 8 real quick? Like, how do you feel about that? So yeah, that's our attack lineup. Like I said, a little bit different than most, but it works. It's really good. It's not too zone heavy. Like there are a fair amount of mids here, but we do have some high and low printed for all zone stuff. So like, even if you're fighting Eraser, you can still put up a threat on some of those other things. Eerie at the 1x. If you have these symbols, you should run Eerie at a 1x. She's just really good. She's another element of that super defense I was talking about before, where like you just make it really hard for them to kill you. if you got Eerie, Broken Psyche, and your character up, and you have a couple momentum, or ideally 3, but maybe you just have a couple, they have to do some really difficult math to try to figure out how they're going to punch through that. And then another way to get some momentum is to steal it with Capture Evildoers. Running that at 3x as well. It's great for just stealing and then being able to deny attack late if they were foolish enough to take momentum against you. Or if they don't do that and they try to play around it, you're like, cool, whatever. I'm just going to use my momentum to then clear my card pool and keep on trucking. And just going to overwhelm you with attacks. So overall, the core is really solid. Very fun deck. Probably the most fun I've had playing a deck in a while. But with that, our sideboard has some extra Capture Evildoers, some evading copies for those mirror matchups, because it's cards you need to look out for as Mirio. Lost in Thought, in case you just want to have some additional like sniping and board control. Heroic Assistance, had this in the main at one point, kind of felt like overkill, so I moved it to the board. And then you have the One for All full counting 5% strike. This is here mainly for those matchups where people just want to face tank stuff because they're playing a defensive character like a Nomu or a Recovery Girl. It just gives you a way to kind of deal with that character, because good doesn't have a lot of ways to interact with their rival and what they're doing, but this is one of them. So also punch is also off zone, and also just draws you cards. So if you can play it late in a string and then capture evildoers and keep on trucking and draw some more cards and do all that cool stuff, like those lines are there. So that is my Mirio list. Again, might have some changes to be made to it, but if you want to put this together and give it a try, it's a good starting point for sure. It's been proven, it's been tested. Hope you enjoyed, and best of luck at Nats.